have a special type of fibers that make the cleaning work. And our job is to design a new way, different construction ways to eliminate the need of the elastane. And we have some ideas already. And so we will present them to you today, and we would like to receive your feedback as well. And they're also based on a requirements list that we set up, also in discussion with the company, like functionality that's important to keep up and other requirements. Now it's what?
I don't think we should tell every new design because we focus on the production costs. And Bashu is a specialist in terms of business management.
Yes.
I think it's
So
irrelevant.
yeah, I'm the business professor in financial management, marketing and communication. So please let me know if I can help you on these aspects.
Yeah, it's one of the requirements is to have it at the cost less ideally or similar to the original design.
Okay.
So now we wonder how we can calculate the cost, like the component to make the cost of the products. In this case, is the glove. Can you show the gloves, Masha?
Yeah.
I have the real glove here. So
the original glove.
It's the cleaning glove.
Yeah.
I put it inside out to see the construction. But it's a cleaning glove, and we have the structure here, like elastic band here, and they want us to replace this part to make it more sustainable. And just reconstruct the glove. And we wonder how we can calculate the price, because when I did a little research, it comprised a lot, like the material, how they pay for the labor, and about the tax, about import tax and export tax.
So I think you should get started with calculating the material cost. So the fabric, the price per meter of the fabric, and how much the fabric is needed per glove. So I think it's not very hard to calculate that in Excel. You will see what do I need, how much fabric do I need per glove, and then the price per meter. That's for the fabric. But you also have other material costs, like maybe sometimes you have elastic in it, or lining, or coatings. In that case, you also count these costs to the material costs. So that's one side. The second, next to the material cost, you also have production cost. And production cost is about the time which takes to produce one unit, and then multiplied by your wage per hour. So you can get, I think you can get an average on that. What are the production costs per hour? Because that's the wage to produce one unit. Well, another thing for production is depreciation and maintenance, but maybe you don't need to count that because you don't own a machine, because we always say if you have production cost, you have labor. So that's what I explained with the wage, but machinery can also be a part. If you own your own machinery, then you have to count the depreciation and the maintenance cost. But maybe this is not useful to do it because you can produce at Saxion, right? You don't need to pay for it.
No, because they have the company in Germany. They have the production chains there.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we should ask them about.
Go ahead and ask. Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah.
So material, production, and the next one is overhead. That's also something we always advise companies to calculate. What is overhead? Overhead is, for example, transportation, logistics. So this is the costs of shipping materials to the factory and delivering the final product. So what are the logistics costs and the transportation cost? Sometimes you have to give this glove a label, or you have to pay for the packaging materials. So what are the costs of packaging materials and labels or labeling? This is something you should also add as overhead costs. Masha, can you please turn off your can you be on mute, please? Because
okay.
yeah, thank you. Also, so materials, production, overhead. Within the overhead chapter, we have transportation, packaging, and we have utilities. What are utilities? Rent, water, electricity. I have to pay for the production facility, and production facility is about utilities. That's for the overhead. And maybe you check whether you have marketing and communication costs like branding, advertising, because you have to sell the gloves. What type of people do you need? Sales representatives and marketing costs related to branding, for example.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's what you need to calculate: materials, production, overhead. And sometimes the additional cost, because marketing is seen as additional in this case.
I think, do we need to calculate the tax, like 21%?
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah.
At the end, if you need to calculate the cost price, if the assignment is calculate the cost price, then you don't need the tax, because the tax is in the consumer price. So if you need to calculate the consumer price in the project, then you have to multiply the cost price with 1.21 because of the tax rate.
Yeah.
So it really depends what cost price, no tax, consumer price, including tax.
Yeah. So we don't need to care about the VAT tax, like the tax for the country.
Okay.
Yeah. And can you please introduce some books to read about calculating the price, because we need to write literature research about the components of the production costs, so we can cite some sources in our research.
Yes, let me check the book. Oh, Fatima is joining. Yeah. Hello. I'm checking the link of the book, okay?
Thank you.
No problem.
In the meantime, I have a question about calculating the costs, since you already mentioned all of the categories and then what all goes into it. Do you think we should calculate the total calculation for the glove, or because we only changed the lower element, should we, if we say some of the things stay mostly the same, we can put them in brackets and out of the calculation and just focus on the changes? Like, for example, if branding is stays somewhat the same way, and then rent as well, if they still use the same facilities. And for the material cost, since the upper part of the glove would also stay the same, and it only adds a little bit. Or should we?
I think, yeah, you can first calculate. Imagine you have to produce 1,000 gloves, then calculate the total cost. This includes all the 4 chapters for 1,000 products, and then divide it by 1,000 to get the total cost per item.
Okay, so it's a better average than just calculating for one. It's easier to use 1,000. Okay.
Well, there is one book I would like to recommend, but don't buy the book because it's very expensive. Please go to the library of Saxion to borrow it, because then you don't need to pay 115 euros.
Yeah.
So it's in the chat now. Check this link with the Saxion library.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And we have another questions like, how should we consider sustainability and recyclability when determining the price?
How can you consider sustainability? And I didn't hear the other one.
Recyclability.
Recyclability.
Yeah, it's the same meaning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good question. You know, a lot of companies are dealing with this challenge. Well, there is one method you can use in that. You can, for example, say that you are using eco-friendly fabrics. Eco-friendly fabrics are organic cotton or recycled polyester, right?
Yeah, recycle. We focus on recycled polyester.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. You can also get some or give advices for certifications. There are different certifications to get. And I think what more companies do, not just in the textile industry, but also in other industries, they try to focus on local products. So it's called sourcing the raw materials locally. So because if you source locally, you will reduce transportation emissions. So that will also, then you have considered the transportation and sustainability. So yeah, sustainability is not only the emissions. I think sustainability is also efficiency. So are you using renewable energy, for example, right? Solar, wind, dyeing processes, reducing water, and also reducing chemical usage. I think these types of things you have, so you can think about sustainable materials, but you can also think about sustainable packaging and sustainable logistics.
Yeah, but how can we reflect it in the price? I think with the more sustainable material, it has a higher price than normal materials, and it should reflect in the price of the raw material already.
Yeah. Yeah, it is extra cost. There are extra costs associated with sustainability. So if you use eco-friendly packaging, then this will affect the price.
Yeah.
So you can ask, for example, €2 extra for recycled fabric.
Yeah.
You cannot make the product recyclable and cheaper. I don't think that's possible with this product.
Yeah.
You can have a sustainable line. Maybe you can have a premium sustainable line. So you have high end and low end. So for high end, you can provide fully sustainable products at a premium price. Then you have a different price than when you say that the product is just 50% eco-friendly. Then you have a different price.
Yeah. And my next question is, how many price models to calculate the price for products?
How many or which ones?
Price models, like in the past, that it depends on the kind of products. They have different models to from segment to have the price for products.
Do you mean price
Bright strategy,
maybe.
yeah. Bright strategy
bright
is
strategy.
just exactly work.
Well, you have the consumer oriented. The consumer oriented price setting is it has a different name. The name is value based pricing. And value based means consumer oriented. So it's about the value the consumer is perceiving. Dus the price of the product is based on the perceived value. So the consumer is able to pay for the premium sustainable product. It's called value based. Lots of companies are unfortunately still applying the strategy of cost-based pricing. And cost-based pricing means I check my cost price. Actually, what we did in this conversation, we check the price, we add our profit margin, or it's called a fixed percentage markup. And then we calculate the consumer price. Because if we apply the cost-based strategy, it means that we can earn our costs back and we also gain some profit. That's the cost-based pricing. Actually, in my lectures, I have 3 strategies. So I already said the value-based, the cost price-based, and the competition-based pricing. And competition means, the name already says, I have a price lower than the competitor, or I have a price higher than the competitor. And if my price is higher than the competitor, I offer a better quality, or I ask a higher price because my product is sustainable. Then your strategy is the competition-based pricing strategy. I do have a book you can borrow from the library, because I also need this book this quarter for my own students. I can share the link. Just a second.
Thank you.
No problem. Marketing fundamentals. So yes, I put it in the chat. I think the library has this book. It's because we are also using it in our courses, and you don't need to read the whole book, but about pricing and about pricing strategies, you can find lots of literature in this book.
Thank you.
You're
It's
welcome.
very useful for us.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah. I'm a little confused about the difference between value-based costs and another one. You say about production cost and plus the margin.
No, I said we have 3. So we have value-based, cost-based, and competition.
Yeah, I cannot distinguish difference between the value-based and the cost-based. What's the value-based?
Yeah. The value means the price is based on the perceived value to the customer. So I do a research with the customer, and then I ask the customer, how much do you want to pay for this product? And then the consumer says, well, I can afford 10 euros per item. That's value based. And cost based, I don't do research at the customer. I just check the production cost and the material cost, and I add the margin, and then I set up my price. So value-based is customer-oriented, and cost-based is internal-oriented.
I understand.
So value-based is more it's modern way of looking at pricing.
Yeah, I think value-based somehow is related to brand identity, like how customer
branding, how customer perceive the brand, I mean Ferrari is perceived as very unique, so people are able to pay a high price for Ferrari. That's because that's the perception of the consumer. That's
yeah.
value based. And if Ferrari is becoming very cheap, no one will buy it, because that's the reason why people buy a Ferrari, because they want to have this unique feeling.
I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Masha and Fatima, do you have questions for Persu? I finished my questions.
Yeah, I do. Unfortunately, I cannot open my Word file. But I wanted to ask, maybe you can copy it in Tram. If I wanted to show Burko our requirement list, if we should put more like a more focus on economic, or if it's already well integrated into the total requirements list, how we presented it. Can you maybe open the file and copy paste it into the chat?
I think it's related to the design, Marsha. It's not related to the economics aspects about productions and the costs. We just
I
asked
wanted to
first.
ask if it's like if the focus on the economy part is well enough integrated for our project, or if you maybe missed something. I cannot open it right now.
But what do you want to ask Bersu then?
If we have it, if in the way we phrased it, the economic part compared to sustainability, for example, or functionality, is in a balanced way in there. Maybe you can maybe I can copy you, or I can copy the file. Can you, Tram, open the file called semi-structured interview?
Semi-structured interview.
Yeah. And do you see where it says 1, 2, 3, the requirements? Or Fatima, if you have it open as well.
I'm trying to open it, but
Yes.
I see here the list of 10 criteria, right? Do you mean it?
Yes, I think it's them. If you could copy and paste it into the chat, that would be great. Thank you. And then maybe I ask the other question in between about if we have some data not available, is it okay to assume some type of cost, for example, in the overhead cost for the logistics cost, where we just take some secondary data that we find if we don't have it directly from the company?
Yes, because you can always do desk research to find some information about overhead. So first try to get it from the company. If you don't get the information, you can do desk research and have assumptions. There is no problem at all. If I look at the chat message, functionality, I don't know whether simplicity is something you should consider for the costs. I don't know, maybe you get some additional costs for that. Respect original design. Well, I don't think this is relevant for the cost price method, because for the cost price, you should really focus on the 4 items I mentioned you today.
Yeah, it's like the overall requirements that we have. But the number 8 is the one that will focus on the production cost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I see.
but probably since you now enlightened us that there's actually the 4 categories: material cost, production cost, and overhead cost, should we make them separate, the requirements, or call them all in one, maybe product cost instead as a criteria is better?
No, because product cost, because if the criteria I gave you also includes overhead costs. So that's you should call it as total costs.
Total cost.
Yeah.
Okay. Total cost. Okay, perfect. Then we can rewrite the requirement. That's good feedback. Thank you so much.
Okay, no problem.
And Fatima, do you have any question for Bersu?
No, I don't have any questions for Bersu.
Thank you.
And Masha, do you have more questions?
I think I asked. Yeah, I think I asked everything else was already answered. Yeah.
Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much, Bersu.
You're welcome.
Thank
Good
you.
luck with your project.
Thank you.
Thanks
Have
so
a
much.
nice
Bye.
have a nice
Bye-bye.
afternoon. Bye bye.
Bye.